All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I hope each and every one of you had a great weekend. And I don't know what it was like where you are, but here in Crystal Beach, we didn't get one kid knocking on the door. You know, and we went out, we bought a ton of candy, and we sat by the door, waiting. I was dressed up as a ghoul, and it was hot in the house. I figured I'd go scare some kids. Nothing. Kids just didn't come out for Halloween this year. Well, around here anyway. And to those of you who were fortunate enough to get kids knocking on your door saying trick or treat, good for you. Thank you for being there. And I trust everybody had a super weekend. And this is the X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, and Mutual Broadcast Network. However, here's the big caveat. However, our scheduling will be changing. We're just waiting to hear when we are going to be going live throughout Ontario, parts of Quebec, parts of Manitoba, and 3 U.S. states, Monday through Friday, live from, 3 to 5 p.m. to give us a drive home section of the airwaves. And then that same day from 10 until midnight. So we're really looking forward towards that. And more information to come as we get further information from the affiliates and our new anchor station that we're going to be moving parts of the X Zone to as soon as we get the word. The times are changing here in the X Zone. And if you'd like to send me an email, that's about one of the things that has never changed. XZone at XZoneRadioTV.com on all social media sites. X Zone Radio TV. And if you'd like to find out about the X Zone TV channel on Simul TV, visit www.simultv.com. Wow, another show, 4 hours. You lucky people listening to me. Oh, I'm sorry, I just had to get that plug in. My guest this hour, Holly Hall, a longtime friend of the X Zone, is joining me from Guelph, Ontario. And Holly, welcome back to the show.
Hey, it's been a while.
It has been.
Yes, it's been a while. And how long have we known each other? My daughter was just a toddler, so we're looking at
20 years.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah, about 20 years, Holly.
Yeah.
It has been a long time, and there's so many things that have happened, but I think the most significant things that have happened was in the last 2 years with COVID and, do you have any explanation for it? Like, you're a psychic, you're a medium, you do astrology. Any ideas on why it happened and when it's going to be over?
Yeah, well, you're probably one of the only shows that I could talk on this level with. And one of the things that I've only told a few friends and a few clients that I know are on this level is that this is a huge galactic change. This is a huge galactic shift. Like, for us to think that we're the only inhabitants in our galaxy amongst millions, if not billions, of universes is extremely egotistical. So this is a massive energetic shift, and whether you want to look at it as God or universe or spirits or souls or angels or guides or however you want to call it. It's a massive shift. And for some reason, the planet Earth, or the humans on planet Earth, because it's not actually planet Earth itself. Honestly, as you would probably agree, planet Earth would do quite well without us.
Oh, I agree 150,000% on that one. In fact, I think that what is happening with COVID, it's Mother Earth saying, all right, I'm going to get rid of some of the riffraff here.
Done. Yeah. And you think of it like the lungs and the air has been pretty much raptured or raped by humans with the Amazon. They've, climate change has already talked about how much the destruction of the Amazon has created a lot of damage and disproportionate issues with air quality throughout the entire earth. Not that, and that's just, that's a large portion, but it's happening throughout. And some of the experts, like triple PhD Zach Bush, if you want to look him up, is that he has even said that this actual protein spiked virus is carbon based, and our atmosphere is so polluted. And some people would say, well, it's population that makes it spread. But according to him, it's the pollution. So obviously, if you have a high population, you're going to have high pollution because it's carbon based as well too. So basically, it's Mother Earth. Like, she can't breathe anymore, and her oxygen level is very low or tainted, and so we're having difficulties fighting something that maybe a couple 100 years ago, 100 years ago, we would be able to do well with. But there's also a huge shift in power and control and being autonomous as well. But on a larger scale, there's a big shift that's happening, and we have to wake up. We have to treat our home, it is our home. We're borrowing this home. We don't own it. It's not ours, but we're treating it like it's our slave to us. And I'm a spiritual person, you're a spiritual person, but we're all consumers on all different levels. And it's the consumer. Like my book, 101 Answers from the Universe, you can get on Amazon. I wrote in the fall of 2019, before all this happened. It puts that all out there, that we've got to change how we consume and what we consume and the way we consume. We don't have to live in the dark ages. We can still have modern technology and modern conveniences, but not in the way that we are. So all of this between 2025 is when it's going to hit us really hard, is my prediction. There's going to be, I call it the Great Divide. We're already in the Great Divide now. The Great Divide is think of it like a cell. It's divided in half, but eventually that's going to divide, and that's going to divide as well too. So I'm looking at 6 divisions by 2025. It won't matter what race, creed, religion, gender that you are. You're going to choose your own division place to be. Nothing is right, wrong, good or bad. That's the one thing I got downloaded. Nothing is, as much as your human consciousness might think you're wrong, you're right, your political view is wrong, your political view is right. According to the downloads that I've received, nothing is right or wrong. This divide has to happen. It all has to happen. And we have already chosen pre-birth where we were going, what we were going to represent, where we were going to be represented. Some of us are still displaced. We're not sure. We're still kind of confused around that. Yeah. And so 2025 is when that's all going to happen. And then between 2025 and 2030, coincidentally, this lines up with 2030 lines up with a lot of the climate change predictors, is that's when we've got to get our shit together, basically. I don't know if I can say that out there, but we have to get it together. And if we don't, we've already had 5 extinctions on, some say 6. And that's geologically proven. That's not woo-woo. There's geologists that will prove how many extinctions that we've been in.
Holly, so I agree. I agree with you that we can live without polluting this planet, but unfortunately, there are a number of greedy industrialists, who really don't care about the planet. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about our children. They don't care about the future. All they're interested in is filling their pockets.
Yeah. And there's only 1%.
Yeah.
1%. And they've said that historically, it only takes 10% to rise above the 1%. Like you would think it would take 50% of us, 99, to rise above. But they say it only takes 10% to make enough momentum and make enough movement to make a difference. And some of the historians, one of them, Greg Braden, who's a geologist and a historian as well, is very optimistic. They said that we've come further than we've ever come, except for the age of Atlantis, which is still somewhat mythical. They haven't proven that extinction. That's why there's a debate whether it's 5 or 6. So they obviously were very, very advanced if they existed. But other than that, they say this is the furthest that we've ever come technology-wise.
All right. Stand by, my dear friend. You and I have to take our first break for this hour. And Exonation, my guest this hour is Holly Hall. And if you'd like to find out more about Holly, visit her website, askhollyhall.com. This is the X Zone, a place where people dare to believe, dare to be heard. And we're coming to you around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and Mutual Broadcast Network. I drew a blank there for a second. You can always send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and we'll be back on the other side of this short break as we continue from our broadcast center and studios in Crystal Beach, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Holly Hall is my guest this hour, www.askhollyhall.com. Holly, for our listeners who may be listening to us the first time today or listening to you for the first time here on the X Zone, can you share with them how you got started into doing what you're doing now?
Oh, wow. So I'm a third generation psychic. My grandmother was a gypsy. My mother, last of the gypsies, my mother did tarot card readings and sort of party tricks in the hippie days. And I was told at 13 that I was psychic from a psychic that was friends of my mother. Mm-hmm. And I was a very scientific minded person, so I didn't see it. I was like, I don't have visions. I don't get voices in my head, whatever I thought psychic was. And I was talking to somebody in my early 20s about this, and he said, you might like astrology. So he handed me this book, which is one of the best books still to learn astrology. The Only Way to Learn Astrology is what it's called. It's a series of books, and I couldn't put it down. I'm not a big book reader, and so it was amazing to me that within 1 week I had read. This was, I'm going to age myself, Rob. This was just before computers came out. So I had to do this 2-page mathematical long division in order to de-align somebody's astrological chart. A
Wow.
lot of people think astrology is just a zodiac sun sign, but it's actually every planet and sun and moon in the sky the day you were born. It's an all in language, and it means something to me. I did have an experience shortly after that was very, it was, I, I mean, I couldn't say that this wasn't a fact, that I have been an astrologer in a past life, probably many past lives, and that's why I picked it up so quickly. And then my psychic abilities came as that. That was sort of my foundation, and then my psychic abilities grew. And then 4 years ago, I got highly endorsed by Dr. Shefali. She's a psychologist, psychologist, clinical psychologist, has been on Oprah quite a few times, and she endorsed me, and I've been pretty busy ever since.
Well, that's wonderful, Holly. Now, I understand there's a difference between astrology, for example, the sun sign compared to Vedic astrology compared to Western astrology. Can you share with us what the difference is, and in your opinion, what the best astrology is?
That's a good question. That's it. It's actually a very interesting question, because Western astrology is what I know, which is it believes that whatever's up in the sky traditionally is what we follow, but it's shifted. It goes by the constellations, so it's shifted because the Earth has shifted. That's why we have leap year, and so some people argue that that's not accurate because their planets aren't exactly in the same location, but that's what I go by, and it works for me, and I get all my senses from that. Vedic astrology is an Eastern, like, so that's Western astrology, Vedic astrology, Eastern astrology, and some of them, they're all different. Some of them go by the conception of your birth, and they also have different signs, and they have more of a square rather than a circle of a wheel to read. But it's interesting because my knowledge of my past life as an astrologer, I was from India. And so I was like, why can't I pick up on Eastern astrology? I tried, and I just couldn't get it. I just didn't resonate with it. I mean, I could get it, but I didn't resonate with it. And so I reached out. I have a ton of clients. Dr. Shefali is East Indian by birth, raised in the United States, grew up as an adult in the United States, got our education there. And so a ton of my clients are Eastern. So one day I just reached out on my Facebook and said, hey, does anybody know? And I knew the area that I was from. And I asked them, and they said, oh yeah, in ancient India, that was a very sacred area that did their astrology much different than anywhere else, and their psychics and everything was much different, and it might have resonated more with Western astrology. So that was really interesting. But which one is better than the other? I'll tell you, most of my clients that are from India, they really hesitated at first to use that endorsement and get a reading from me, because as children, they were raised that astrology was very negative.
Really?
They were given their birth chart. Their parents lived by it, and they were basically tainted right from birth that this is what the astrologer said that you're going to be, and they couldn't waver from it. So they didn't really like astrology because they felt judged, or their fate, right? So it can be very negative, where Western astrology, at least the way I do it, I do it a bit differently than most Western astrologers. They do a lot of predictive, and I do more of a deep soul level. Like when I'm looking at someone's chart, I know what their past lives were. I know why they were born into the family that they were born into. I can see the karmic connections that they have. I know what their gifts are, what their challenges are, which is really just a flip side of a misuse of their gifts. And then moving forward, how are you going to use all of this at predictive dates in order to make the most out of your life here on this planet? Not necessarily in a materialistic way. So, yeah, I think there's a difference between Vedic and Western, but there's also a difference between how Holly does it and how Western astrology is.
The good old Holly factor.
Yeah.
Holly, are you finding that the questions that people are asking you are different today than they were 2 years ago?
Yeah, so going back to when COVID started, I did a bunch of readings, obviously at the end of 2019, at the beginning of 2020. And after April of 2020, clients of mine were saying, you told me something was going to happen in April. You told me something was going to happen in April. And I kept hearing this. And so I looked back and I was like, oh my gosh, there was a ton of predictions that started to get even boring for me. I'm
Really?
like, okay, Holly, how many times can you say something's going to happen in April to everybody? It's not very unique to each individual. But then after April happened, which was when kind of the whole world knew that COVID was a big deal and all the lockdowns and shutdowns started, then people started to realize, even though it wasn't like I would see it in their home or their family or their career, a lot of career stuff and shifts. But yeah, a lot of the predictive stuff was in relationships and career. So if their relationships were struggling, my prediction in the late 2019 was that April is going to be the highlight of your relationship. You're going to make it or break it at that time. It's going to work or it's not going to work. Or that's when you're going to decide that you can take this job and shove it, or you're going to go out on your own and start your own business. This is when it's really going to be heavy.
Yeah.
So somehow, there was a big global shift energetically, astrologically, with each one of my clients. And as we know, a lot of relationships have struggled or became stronger through this, as well as people's careers have drastically changed. And I have helped people in those 2 years. I can name I helped a doctor, a family physician, PhD in Vancouver, quit her job. A therapist in Calgary, she's working on quitting her job, her corporate job. A client in the United States quit her corporate job in marketing and started her own marketing company. Huge success. All of them huge successes. And it's just been one after the other. And because I do coaching, so some of these, it took 6 months to coach them into leaving one paradigm of their life and moving into the next one with their careers, and all of them being more independent, more autonomous.
Holly, what's the difference between coaching and convincing?
So I know you got to walk a fine line there. Very ethical. I have to be very ethical about that, because I don't want to convince or project. Like you could say to somebody something and then they'll, you kind of psychologically tell them, oh, this is the way it's going to happen. So coaching is more about me finding out what they want. What are your dreams? But not on I want to make $1 million a year. That's too superficial for me. I want to know, what will make you happy no matter what you're doing, who you're with, what size of house you live in, what fundamentally on a soul or emotional level will make you happy day to day. And then I look at future trends astrologically. There are good dates.
Holly, I hate to do this. I hate to do this to you, but I've got to take my news break at the bottom of the hour. And X Zone Nation, we'll come back with our special guest this hour, Holly Hall. Her website is askhollyhall.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll be back after the news. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. Holly Hall is our guest this hour, www.askhollyhall.com. And I'm sorry I cut you off there, Holly, but you know how it is in this business. We have to take our hard breaks in our news in order to pay the bills.
I get it.
So, so you're coaching these people, and are you finding that more and more people, because of the reputation that you've so hard, you've worked very hard at getting where you are today, that your reputation is bringing in more business and more of the serious type of business than
Yeah.
than the regular psychic astrologer would get?
Yeah, absolutely. You could have said it better. Yeah, I have my clients, they buy 3, 6, 10 packages. Most of my clients come back to me over and over again. I'd say 75% of my clients are repeat over and over again, once a month. Some are once a week, once every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent. Do you do dream interpretation as well, Holly?
Yes, I do.
Once again, has the those who come to you for the interpretation of their dreams, have the dream patterns changed since April of 2019?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people are having very vivid dreams. Yeah, that's what the most common scenario is, that they say their dreams are so vivid or very real.
Now, there's a lot of dream books out there. And I've often wondered how these different books can all relate to people's dreams. Do we all dream the same dreams?
Well, there are basic interpretations,
Okay.
but you do have to learn and discover what your own interpretation is. So, as a quick example, the typical interpretation of a cat is cattiness or independence, etc., kind of all of the different feline experiences. But if you're terrified of cats, I had a client who literally is frozen when she sees a cat, then that cat dream means something completely different to her.
So I guess the way to look at a dream and what you dream, for example, like you said, if you love cats, or would have a totally different meaning than that client you had who was deathly afraid of cats.
Right.
So you have to
Absolutely.
take the signs and symbology and work them into your life.
Yeah, the best book is called The Miraculous, Marvelous World of Dreams by Wilda Tanner. That's the best book that you can get. You can get it on Amazon.
So what else do you do that our listeners would be interested in knowing about?
I do past life therapy. I've been certified in the last 2 years in past life regression hypnosis therapy. I do quite a bit of those, and in each hour, they're an hour session. We go about 3 different lifetimes, and it's just been game changing for a lot of people to understand the pattern that they have with people in this lifetime. They meet the people in the past lives that have represented different roles for them, and it really shifted their understanding and even healing around the karmic lessons.
Where do you find the time to do all this, Holly?
I do. I find it. I love it.
My goodness.
I do. It's just I live and breathe this stuff.
Holly, when you do past life regression, how do you do it?
Even though I took the hypnosis classes, I developed my own technique, and I use it the same technique, and it really, even people who say, "Oh, it doesn't work for me, I can't," it puts them pretty deep. You're aware, you feel like you're just doing a guided meditation. But yeah, I do a body relaxation, that typical hypnosis countdown. I walk them through a guided, I call it earth, water, air, and fire. I walk them through this symbolic forest, and then they come out of the forest and they're in that lifetime. I've even had clients who've had lifetimes that weren't on this earth, or when they were guides.
Has there ever been a past life that has just blown you away?
Yeah, that was the one where it was a guide, and it was a guy too. It was a male client of mine, and he was hesitant, that he was very an intellectual and did not think he would be able to go. And as soon as he went into that lifetime, he goes, because I'd be like, what does your body look like? And, I'll walk them through it. And I get intuition and impressions throughout it as well, but I let them guide themselves, and then I'll give them my sense of it after. But he was like, I don't have a body. I'm following a girl around, like I'm hovering in the trees and I'm looking down at this girl. And he was her guide in that life. And it was really neat because he felt so like he felt like air,
Mm-hmm.
and he was explaining how he felt. And I just thought I never had that happen in a past life regression. So I thought that was really fascinating.
Why do we keep coming back, Holly? If we're here this time, this lifetime, why do we keep coming back? And when does it stop? When did it start? So many questions, so little time.
I know. It never started and it will never end.
Well,
and
thanks
it's like
for
a
that,
circle.
Holly.
If you could just envision a circle where there's
Yeah.
no start, there's no end. And it's really hard to conceptualize. I believe Nassim Haramein, which is a very popular radical physicist, you can look him up as well too. He believes in observation, and there's actually a theory done in the 1950s too. When we observe something, it exists and it expands. And so the galaxies, the universe, the more we look, the more it expands. The more we search, the more it grows. The more that we inquire, the more that it becomes a reality. And so that's never going to end. And unless we all stop searching and thinking and questioning, which will never happen, it's always going to continue to grow. Why do we keep coming back? I believe that Earth, and might sound a bit harsh, but Earth is like a cesspool. And this is a place that we go to really create balance within the whole galaxy and within the whole universe. Whenever there's an imbalance, we all come here in order to create some balance or to learn some really harsh lessons, because we've created some of that imbalance.
We sure have.
But we come from a collective. We come from a collective one soul. So it can get complicated. But
I have always called planet Earth the Botany Bay of the universe.
yes, that's another good. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. How important in today's lifetime is meditation?
That one is, I personally have a really hard time meditating. There's one meditation, which is actually a Buddhist meditation, that works really well for me. It's quite guided. But to be in complete silence is not my favorite place to be. So I believe just being mindful, just being mindful of your thoughts, mindful of your actions, mindful of your being in nature. I meditate really well in nature, which Buddhists would call walking meditation. There's so many different ways. You can meditate while you're washing the dishes. You can meditate while you're standing in line or waiting for the light to turn green. So it's very important to be mindful, I think, than it is to be meditating. If you've acquired the art of mindfulness, then get to the next level and meditate.
I sometimes wonder if meditation is associated with daydreaming.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to like this one.
Okay.
I daydreamed so much. Like all my report cards was, Holly's a good student, but she daydreams too much. And a lot of people will do this checking out, when things get too constricted. But as we get older, but we've all had it, even when we're younger. Like my husband will say, like, I must be getting old because I walked into the room and I didn't know why I was there. I'm like, come on, we've been doing that our whole life. How many times have you walked into a room and go, what did I come here to get? What was I doing? And so what I do now, instead of getting confused or upset or bewildered, I sit there in that nothingness, because at that moment you're thinking nothing. You don't know why you came into it. You don't know why you're there. And instead of turning around, going back to the room I was in to remind myself of what I was doing, I just stand there and think of nothing.
Wow. I use Post-it
and
notes.
I love it.
I use those little colored Post-it notes all over the place.
Get rid of the Post-it notes.
It's a wonder that I can actually see my computer at home. I've got all these different colors. It kind of looks cool, all these colors. Reminds me of Christmas. Speaking of Christmas, I heard and saw my first Christmas commercials today, Holly.
Oh, really? Yeah. I don't get cable TV, so I don't watch commercials.
Smart lady.
I know.
Smart lady. Hey, listen, we have to take our final break for this hour. It's always great talking to you, Holly. How are things up in Guelph?
I'm going to be moving to Stratford soon, actually, in the new year. But yeah, Guelph is Guelph. I'm a city girl. I came from Windsor and then Toronto, and so it's okay.
But the best part about you, Holly, is you've never changed. You're always Holly Hall.
Well, thank you.
And I appreciate that about you, dear. Exo Nation, Holly Hall, and I will be back on the other side of this break as we wrap up this hour here in the Exo. Now, if you'd like to find out more about Holly, maybe you'd like to take some of her coaching that she does. Maybe you'd like an astrological reading. Maybe you'd like to talk to her about a dream. Why don't you visit her website, www.askhollyhall.com. And we'll both be back on the other side as we continue this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Crystal Beach, Ontario, Canada. And if you like classic rock and roll, if you like classic talk, there's a great station that I found in St. Catharines, Ontario. It's Classic 1220. Classic1220.ca is their website, and their call sign is Classic 1220 AM CFAJ. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
I know it's out of fashion and a trifle uncool.
Like the pine trees lining the winding road, I've got a name, I've got a name. Like the singing bird and the croaking toad, I've got a name, I've got a name.
Welcome back, everyone. Holly Hall is with us. www.askhollyhall.com. First of all, Holly, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Always great pleasure talking to you, and congratulations on all the success that you so rightly deserve.
Thank you. It's my honor.
Holly, a lot of people that I speak to here on this show, especially those who want to dabble in quantum physics, and they all use the keywords, and they truly believe that this existence is holographic.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that theory?
I agreed with it, but it really didn't resonate for me until Dr. Bruce Lipton talked about a MRI type of machine that would go around the head. In the day, they would have ECGs where the probes would be on the head, and this was out of the head. And through that, they found out, it was only about 6 inches away from the head, but that was all they could measure. But they discovered that the soul, or I don't know how they did this, but the soul or the unconsciousness or subconsciousness was happening outside of the body, and we were broadcasting it.
Wow.
And that all of these receptors are little proteins on the end of it. So when I heard that really resonated with me. And I was like, you know what? Our soul, I don't believe our soul is in our body. I believe we broadcast it in our body through different sensories in our brain and our heart and our body language. So I don't know if that's quite answering your question, but so the holographic part is that we create our reality according to what we want to broadcast, just like a radio. I could broadcast country, talk radio, hard rock, or a mixture of a few, and it's my choice. And through that, I'm going to have an experience while I'm listening to those broadcasts. I'm going to have an experience, going to make or break my day, etc. So in a holographic form, it is, but we are creating it, kind of like The Matrix, the movie The Matrix.
Interesting. Would that explain ghosts and spirits that people see, or the shadow people, or demonic entities?
Yeah, so I just actually I get what's called downloads. They're kind of like impressions. My whole book, 101 Answers from the Universe, is a download. And just recently, I got that impression or download that, and they've already said this, but they're all living here. So for instance, if I die today, I'm going to continue to live my life, but the way I want to, but nobody can see me and nobody can interact with me, but I can interact with them. It's kind of weird. It's really hard to explain. But so all of them are happening. So if you're very sensitive or you got extrasensory perception, you may slightly see me at the corner of your eye, or you may be able to see me visually because I'm there. I'm just in a different, between a fine line of a veil.
So would that give credence to the the multiple dimensional theory that's out there?
Yes. Yeah, and I've been experimenting with this in the last few months, and it really does work. I will
Really?
tell you, and I know it sounds woo-woo, but I've been trying to have different dimensions of my life. So if there's something in my life I'm not happy with,
Yeah.
then I say I want to live in another dimension of that life, and I want it to be like this. This other life still exists, the one that I don't like, but I want to experience another multidimensional version of it, and it's worked.
But how do you keep yourself grounded or connected to this dimension? And because, what would be stopping you if you liked the other dimension better from staying there? And what would happen to the Holly in this dimension?
It still happens. They're all grounded. Like if I move from one dimension to another, I'm still grounded. It's like if I pick up one book and read that book and I have 3 books going on at the same time, I can experience all 3 books just like they're actually happening. And it doesn't change what's happening in my other book that I'm reading.
Yeah, I know, but the 3 books are in this dimension. But if you're experimenting and going into other dimensions, are you anchored to this dimension?
Yeah, because it happens simultaneously without, it's like thinking 3 or 4 thoughts at the same time. It's still happening. It doesn't unanchor me. I don't experience being unanchored or floating or feeling disconnected at all.
So it's just like well, how can I best explain it then? Just like
it's
another...
a different reality. It's
Yeah.
just a different way of, I just want to have a different reality of my reality. So I just imagine that it really exists. Right? So for instance, if you don't like your job,
Yeah.
you could sit there and go, I don't like my job, but this is how I would love to have my job. I'd love my boss to praise me. I would love my coworkers to work better with me. I don't want to be overloaded with my work. I'd like to cut my hours down. And you start imagining that is your life. And then things just start showing up. Suddenly your boss is nice to you. Suddenly somebody says, hey, can I take this job from you? Make your life easier. Like it just happens. But you got to believe it's going to happen.
So it's like that old saying, if you confess it, you will possess it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The power of positive thought.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
I don't believe, I do believe the law of attraction and positive thoughts, but this living it like a daydream, that works for me. It's very much like, the Wizard of Oz at the very end when she was clicking her heels. She just has to believe.
So from now on, when I see the Wizard of Oz, I'm going to imagine you being Dorothy.
Yeah. With my red ruby shoes.
Yeah, there you go, and your little dog.
I do have a little dog that looks very much like that.
More than coincidence, I think. More than coincidence. Listen, we've got about 4 minutes left. What are you up to, and where do you see the future, Holly? Here we are. It's November the 1st, 2021. Where do you see the world a year from today? Do you see COVID coming back, or are we just in a lull when it comes to COVID, or is COVID finally on its way out?
Or does COVID even really exist? No, COVID does exist. It exists just like any other viruses are out there. But there's definitely some energy around this that is very different than anything we've ever experienced in the history of life. And the difference is that we're connected globally through this global village called the internet, etc. So we, the people, are going to become much more powerful, much more autonomous, much more responsible, individualistic. And that's what this is all about. This is what it's all meant to be. Don't give your rights away. Take your rights back individually, whoever you are, whatever you want to do. You don't like your job, find a job you love. Don't like your marriage, make the marriage lovable, or find a marriage that's loving for you. Don't like yourself, fix it. You're not eating healthy, you're not being healthy, do something about that too. Like, take advantage of this time and make your improve your life any way that you can that makes you happier, even if it's just a minuscule.
I think
That's what's important.
I think everybody in society these days has become way too complacent.
Yes.
Way too complacent, and it's about time we crapped or got off the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple. How can people find out more about you, Holly? I've been telling the people to go to your website. What services do you offer on your site?
So I do all that. I love doing readings for children. The psychologist that endorsed me is it works with parents and children. I love doing past life regression, future, past, childhood, healing your childhood as well. Ask Holly Hall is my LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's all Ask Holly Hall. There's a tag, is a handle for all of them, and that's where you can find me and get a hold of me. And basically, if you got a question, I got the answer. Anything.
It's the Holly Hall factor. Plain and
It's the
simple.
Holly Hall factor.
Any more books in the offing?
I want to rewrite the 101 answers, and I want to add to it, considering what's happening right now. So hopefully I will get to that. I need to clone myself. That's what I need to do.
Hey, if anybody can do it, I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
Holly, in your opinion, where do the UFOs that are being spotted more and more by people
It's
around
about
the
time.
world?
This is a cool thing. In my book, 101 Answers from the Universe, I predicted in February of 2020 that we would get a proof of UFOs. And we did, but they hid it. You know, that little chiclet, they call it. Stupid name, chiclet.
Tic-tac.
But it came out from NASA, but it didn't become mainstream. But I did get a download about that. These UFOs are drones. There's not actually like entities inside of them. They're drones, and they're coming around to check us out and take a look at what's going on and learn or see how we're growing, etc. There's like cameras in there, and quite a bit of technology in there to study us.
Holly, as always, time goes by way too fast when you're on the show. My very best to your family. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day to join us here on the X-Zone, and I can hardly wait till next week come back. Holly, take care of yourself.
You too, Rob.
Bye-bye, dear. X-Zone Nation, the one and only Holly Hall has been our guest. Once again, if you'd like to find out more about Holly, or if you'd like to contact her for a reading, if you'd like to get your chart done, if you'd like to use her coaching services, one place, askhollyhall.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as the X-Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in Crystal Beach, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
You come running, I said you would, baby.